Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dez Reacts back with another banger of a video, man. This one we got the SAS unit who went rogue to rescue their teammate. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like this is gonna be fire. Good video. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this video, how y'all's lives is going. If you guys haven't already, please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get it.
The British SAS, or
So
Special Air
badass.
Service, is one of the world's most elite special forces units, known for their bravery, skill, and precision. But what happens when orders go against their moral code?
Ooh.
On September 19th, 2005, in Basra, Iraq, two British SAS operators were in Iraq on a top-secret mission. The operators were identified only as Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. The country had been in turmoil since the US-led invasion in 2003, and the British military had been tasked with maintaining order in the southern city of Basra. Basra was originally proclaimed a beacon for post-war Iraq, a model of how to...
My question is, how many people in the UK, like, what was the general consensus of support for the war? Were you guys upset that you guys had to send your own soldiers to help out with the USA? Or is it kind of like, you know, we're basically brothers in arms, like they go to war, we go to war, you guys go to war, we go to war type thing? Like, let me know in the comments how you guys felt about the whole situation.
hand over control to the local population, but now it was a hotbed of insurgency.
That'd be scary.
Not interested.
Damn shame.
The SAS had spent weeks observing and infiltrating the Iraqi insurgent groups, which were gradually taking control of the police force that British soldiers were supposed to be working with to restore order. As Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 were finishing their surveillance mission, they were compromised by plainclothes Iraqi policemen. A scuffle ensued, and the SAS operators fired their weapons, wounding an Iraqi policeman. The SAS
Ooh, that might be a no-no, but like I said, it sounded like the ISIS or whatever was infiltrating their police force. Interesting.
operators tried to escape, relying on their native garb for protection. But as they were leaving the area, they came upon an Iraqi police checkpoint and decided to try to talk their way out of an increasingly bad situation, but to no avail. They were captured and beaten by corrupt police officers sympathetic to hostile militia groups. The SAS operators stationed in Basra were in shock when they saw their fellow operators being paraded on a...
Now, why they gotta black out the dog's face? Like, I understand, you know, the human's face, but come on. You're gonna recognize the German Shepherd and be like, oh, that's the SAS dog. No, it's just a German Shepherd, bro. You need to chill. As cool as it is, though.
Iraqi TV, charged with heinous crimes and feared for their safety, especially given the brutalities of the factions fighting against the British forces. The likelihood of those operators surviving more than a few days was narrow at best. The SAS commander in charge of the unit realized that they needed to be rescued immediately, but his unit was too small, so he requested reinforcements from an SAS detachment 300 miles away. The operators equipped themselves with their gear and readied their submachine guns and C8 carbines before making their way towards a C-130 that was waiting for them.
US
They
of
eagerly
A.
prepared to move into action. However, when the SAS team requested permission from the superiors to launch the rescue mission, they were denied. The chain of command...
That's gotta be so annoying, bro. Like, you're ready to lay your life down on the line because you know your brother, I'm putting quote unquote brother, would do the same for you. Like, you've been captured from corrupt police officers or whatever. You're in the SAS, which is one of the best, you know, military groups in the world. like when it comes to like efficiency and getting the job done, you know they'd do that for you. And to be shut down by the big dogs that aren't even touching the war, or they're not even touching the battlefield with you, I know that's annoying, because I know this general, whoever it is just back in the UK, you know, in your guys' military headquarters, just like, nah, 2 lives ain't worth it.
And feared that any rescue attempt would lead to further casualties in a larger conflict with the insurgents. The officials in London were caught off guard, and their response was sluggish. The political climate in newly freed Iraq was unstable. Despite the commander's disbelief at the command, he warned his superior about the perilous situation of leaving the 2 men in captivity. However, his plea fell on deaf ears as the general repeatedly overruled him. The commander realized that high command didn't care about the lives of his operators. He was furious, but he also knew that leaving his 2 people to the wolves was not an option. During that pivotal moment, the commander and his unit were confronted with a critical decision. The commander made the bold choice to disregard the orders. The SAS unit got on that C-130, decided to rescue their mates anyway. Minutes later, the C-130 took off.
Damn.
This game, you're not ready for it.
There's no going back. Once they reached the police station, they were aided by local officials and regular British Army officers. They tried to win the captives' release and resolve the situation peacefully, but every effort to gain permission to get through the gates was ignored. The mob grew around them, forcing them to leave. The armored vehicles were attacked with rocks and Molotov cocktails, and one had to be abandoned by its crew.
Sheesh,
The
that's a lot of money.
situation was getting worse by the hour. The SAS launched another rescue attempt with helicopter and mechanized infantry support. But this time they weren't so cordial. They slammed right through the walls of the police station with the help of the armored vehicles. The soldiers rushed out of the vehicles and swarmed the compound. The ear-splitting snap of flashbang grenades sounded in the air. Gunshots rang out as militants who raised their guns quickly fell. Upon entering the station, the SAS encountered a few frightened policemen who surrendered by raising their hands and then were disarmed and handcuffed. Initially, the rescue team was unable to locate the captive SAS operators and were concerned that they had been relocated once more.
Bro, imagine how scary that would be. You're a police officer, right? In Iraq, you know it's wartime. And it's just a normal day. Your superiors tell you this is what you're doing today, you know, how it is in a real job or real police work, you know. All of a sudden you see tanks and stuff just start driving through the walls, and all these SAS operators, I don't know if they're jointed with, you know, Marines or whatnot, but just you see all these soldiers, all these guns just pushing up on you, bro. Probably drinking coffee. Yeah, he probably messed on himself.
However, during another search of the compound, the task force discovered the 2 SAS operatives handcuffed inside a bathroom.
Oh.
Although they were bruised and unkempt, they were still alive. The SAS checked them and swiftly moved them out of the compound and into a waiting armored vehicle. The rest of the SAS unit quickly followed, and the armored column turned and sped away from the location and successfully made their way back to base. Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 were transported to a hospital for medical attention. Amidst the chaos, however, there were consequences. About 100 prisoners managed to escape, and the Iraqis demanded reparations for the destruction caused. News of the successful rescue raced up the chain of command, through the Ministry of Defense and eventually into the Prime Minister's office. As news of the incident reached the public, the authorities in charge became aware of their embarrassing situation. The thought of punishing the operators, who had just been praised as heroes for rescuing their fellow British troops in Iraq, was too bitter to even consider. As a result, the higher-ups opted to authorize the rescue operation, even though they were aware that the mission had already been accomplished. This allowed them to save face and avoid punishing the rescuers, which would have been a bitter pill to swallow given their heroic efforts.
Right. If you think about it, man, the public would have went crazy. You guys would have probably been protesting, right? And like, oh my goodness, man. And the fact that the Iraqi police demanded reparations, like, bro, y'all can't be demanding nothing. Like, that's going in one ear out the other. You want reparations because 30 prisoners escaped because you guys wrongfully were holding 2 of our most elite soldiers in our country hostage. Yeah, no, that's not going to work out, bud. Your reparations is we didn't kill you guys in the process. You're welcome.
Moreover, the government discovered that if they had attempted to impede the mission, the SAS leadership was ready to resign en masse.
Oh, man.
The British government paid millions of pounds in compensation to the Iraqi government, which included...
Why, bro? Why? That's how you know I don't watch my videos before I react to them, man. So they did give him millions of dollars. And I guarantee you half that millions of dollars probably went in somebody's pockets, bro. It did not all just go to the police station and all that. That's annoying. But at the same time, they're thinking that, you know, it's a new free country and people, you know, they're rebuilding, because then Lord knows what happened a couple years later with Afghanistan and stuff in Iraq. So
rebuilding the damaged police station, the incident sparked a political debate in the UK about the country's involvement in Iraq. Many people criticized the government's decision to join the war, and the Basra rescue operation was seen as an example of the dangers and consequences of such actions. The SAS unit took a daring risk on that fateful day, staging a mutiny in order to rescue their mates. However, despite the risk, the decision was a calculated one that ultimately proved successful. And the SAS once again lived up to their motto of who dares wins. But let us know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.
man, that was a dope video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and comments on it in the comment section below. If you guys haven't already, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And man, SAS gonna do SAS things, which is greatness. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, whenever you're watching this. Catch you on the next video. Peace.